Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Susan Valakis, and I'm the Training Development Coordinator at Now Foods. And as such, I bring you these webinars on the third Thursday of each month. So welcome. If you've missed any of our previous webinars, you can find replays on our website at nowfoods.com/webinars or on our Now Foods YouTube channel. If you have any questions during today's presentation, please use the chat bubble on your screen to submit your questions, and we will respond to you with the answers by email. In today's webinar, Nutrients for Heart Support, you'll discover that regular exercise and healthy eating are by far the best ways to keep your heart and cardiovascular system in good working order. But sometimes even a healthy diet can lack some of the nutrients that we need to keep our system healthy and strong. And at Now, we understand the importance of maintaining good cardiovascular health. So we've taken the best nutrients for heart health and combined them to create a line of supplements that provides comprehensive support for all aspects of cardiovascular health, even maintaining already healthy cholesterol levels and blood pressure. So in today's presentation, it will run about 40 minutes. And it will be presented by one of Now's very own, Jim Golick. Jim is a certified and licensed dietitian nutritionist in Illinois. He's been in the industry for over 40 years, and he has a long history with Now Foods in retail management, nutrition counseling, as well as in our corporate environment. And he is currently part of the product information team, where he answers questions and shares his vast knowledge with retailers, consumers, and practitioners from all around the world. So with that, please join me in welcoming Jim Golick to tell us about the nutrients that will help support good cardiovascular health. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you, Sue. Welcome, everyone. And we're going to be talking about our heart support products, of which we have very many, and really good ones, too. So let's start off with Nattokinase. Many of us are familiar with this. It's a enzyme that helps to maintain normal fibrinogen levels in the blood, and we need to have normal clotting. We can't get by without being able to clot our blood. Otherwise, obviously, we could cut ourselves and bleed to death. So we need some fibrinogen to be activated at appropriate times, but we can also have too much being activated in the body. So the nattokinase helps to maintain this normal fibrinogen levels, so we can have the normal clotting mechanisms operating and to help the blood flow to occur. Nattokinase also works in other parts. I'll tell you that in a moment. So it can help to promote heart and circulatory health by helping maintain the normal blood fluidity, as I mentioned, but it also can help with in the venous system as well as the lymphatic system as well. So this is helping the proper blood and lymph flow throughout the body, the whole circulatory system. Next, we're going to be talking about Pantethine, which is a derivative of vitamin B5, pantothenic acid. Pantethine is a more active form of it and a more biologically active form. It can come in two forms, 300 milligram and 600 milligram. The 600 milligram obviously is a larger size soft gel, and it can help, especially as a precursor of a very important enzyme in the body called Coenzyme A. We don't find Coenzyme A, to my knowledge, as a supplement, but Pantethine is a direct precursor to Coenzyme A, and Coenzyme A is very much involved as a kingpin of the operation as a cofactor for our body's production of the synthesis of fatty acids, but taking fats and carbohydrates and protein and using them in normal metabolic processes in the body. And another thing about Pantethine to be aware of is that it also can support healthy adrenal glands in stress reduction. Certainly we find in many of stress formulas, we'll find pantothenic acid, vitamin B5, in higher than usual amounts of other B vitamins. Certainly the B vitamins have long been known as the stress vitamins, but of them, pantothenic acid, or in this case Pantethine, are more important for support of the adrenal glands, along with vitamin C. in that regard. Pantethine helps also support proper cholesterol production and fat storage in the liver and healthy body fat distribution. So again, supports a healthy cardiovascular system along with a healthy diet. It may help triglycerides and total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol already within the normal range, and may help in the raising of HDL cholesterol, what we refer to as the good cholesterol. Then next we have Vein Supreme. It is a combination of botanicals featuring the trinorin, prickly ash bark extract, horse chestnut, butcher's broom, grapeseed, and rutin powder. And rutin, by the way, is a precursor for the production of quercetin in the body, just as an FYI. So trinorin, which is the prickly ash bark extract we're talking about, along with these other herbs, help to support healthy vascular tone and integrity. And it actually can help act as a vasodilator without affecting the heart rate or respiration. So heart rate could be, higher or lower, which we don't necessarily want it to be. And this can help to influence the arterial blood pressure without necessarily affecting heart rate adversely or respiratory rate. So it has a lot of effects, including effects on blood pressure as well as platelet activity. So it's that's just one major ingredient in here. But we also have, in addition to that, the butcher's broom and the horse chestnut, which both contain acin, which helps maintain normal the tone of the venous system and vascular permeability. With vascular permeability, we have to have a normal amount of permeability in our capillaries, that allows nutrient and water flow in and out of cells. But if we have not enough of a collagen structures in the body, the vascular permeability can become too leaky and allow excess water out of the cells, which is not beneficial. And we also want to have in the blood vessels themselves and the normal contractile force, the flexing and the shrinking of blood vessels as we have the flow of blood going through our system too. So very important to have flexible arteries, just like flexible bodies. Now we're going to talk about clinical cardio, which is one of our newest product in the cardiovascular arena. We're going to be talking about each of these individual components throughout not only this presentation of the clinical cardio, but also when we touch on some of the individual components in our product line later on. So we're going to talk about vitamin D3, L-Carnitine, Hawthorn, Grapeseed, Coenzyme Q10, and MK7. So clinical cardio, nutrients and botanicals help to promote optimal cardiovascular health. The Hawthorn and the Mega Natural BP grapeseed extract are known to support healthy blood pressure already within the normal range. And MK7 is important for its ability to help maintain arterial flexibility, as I was talking about a moment ago. Vitamin D also aids proper calcium metabolism, which is also involved in that. We'll talk about that in a moment. And carnitine and CoQ10 support energy production in the heart, which is very important. So Hawthorn leaf and flower extracts. The Hawthorn has been one of the top 10 botanicals sold in Europe for a number of years. Very popular. And it has been shown in a number of studies to be helpful for support of healthy cardiovascular function. Hawthorn extract has free radical scavenging and cardioprotective properties. It can help in the blood flow and oxygen flow and utilization by the heart. Now, interestingly, Hawthorn exerts simultaneous inotropic and vasodilatory action. So the inotropic, as explained at the bottom of the page, is the force and speed of contraction of muscles. So in this case, helping to have a strengthening effect on the heart muscle itself, as well as helping with the proper vasodilation action. And the flavonoids found in hawthorn have collagen stabilizing effects, which also can enhance the integrity of blood vessels, and that gets right back to some of that vascular permeability that I was talking about earlier. And hawthorn can also promote the cholesterol sequestration and bile flow that is necessary for liver production of bile, which goes to the gallbladder and leaves the body. And much of the bile that's made in the body is made from cholesterol, so helping promote the bile flow and manufacture, which can be done with other ways and means as well, is very helpful for helping manage proper cholesterol. Mega Natural BP is a unique grapeseed extract. Now, we do have grapeseed extract, as you know, but this is a soluble grapeseed extract, standardized to minimum 90% polyphenols, and it has been investigated in clinical studies and shown to not only be a powerful free radical scavenger, but also can contribute to relaxation of the endothelial lining, which gets to the heart of the matter, pun intended, which we'll talk about in a moment, and also can support healthy platelet functions. So the grapeseed extract helps maintain healthy blood pressure within a healthy range. An example of that is a study done with 24 healthy adult volunteers receiving either 150 milligrams or 300 milligrams of the grapeseed extract. This is, again, the Mega Natural one. For 4 weeks, normal blood pressure was significantly lowered in the grapeseed group after just 4 weeks versus baseline readings, which is pretty neat. Next, we're going to talk about another key component of clinical cardio, which is vitamin K2 is MK7. Now, as many of us know, MK7 or vitamin K2 itself is a significant regulator of tissue calcification and is critical for the maintenance of the arterial elasticity and cardiovascular health. And a good example of this is a stiffness index, arterial stiffness, a clinical trial done over a 3-year period with 244 postmenopausal women given 180 micrograms of MK7, and over this period of time, as you can see, significant improvement over 1, 2, and especially 3-year period. Now, MK7 has unique biological properties. It's, again, a different form from K1, which we'll talk about a little bit later on, and a longer lasting form than K2, normal forms of K2. K2, again, has about a dozen sub forms, which we're not going to talk about much today, but we're going to focus on the MK7, which does involve the production of osteocalcin and matrix GLA proteins found in cartilage and artery walls that can help, again, with proper mineralization, helping calcium to go where it needs to in the body. So the MK7, represented by the black line here, has a much longer life in the body, represented here by up to the 96-hour point, and just under the 100-hour point, which is, of course, a 4-day period. And that is why it has longer lasting properties and longer lasting protection, I guess you could say. Not protection, but longer lasting efficacy, compared to MK4, represented by the green line, which is a relatively short half-life in the body in a few hours. K1 is a different form of that's involved in blood clotting, but does not have the effects on the carboxylation of tissue nearly as much as MK7 and MK4 do in the body. Vitamin D receptors have been found all over the body, and in many thousands of genes in our body, but also in all the major cardiovascular cell types, including the heart muscles themselves, the cardiomyocytes, and arterial cell walls, and the immune cells. So even the rather conservative American Heart Association journal called Circulation Research has made mention that experimental studies have established a role for vitamin D metabolites and pathways that are integral to cardiovascular function. So it's been well established. Vitamin D helps support the regulation of calcium levels in the blood, as well as phosphate levels. And it, again, is involved in cardiovascular health. And a vitamin D deficiency can negatively influence blood pressure in the wrong direction. So there is a synergy that exists between vitamin D and vitamin K2. They're, again, both involved in osteocalcin, which is a calcium binding protein in the bone and the teeth that helps the regulation throughout the body. So vitamin D regulates the production, and vitamin K2 the activation of the osteocalcin. Next, we're going to talk about the coenzyme Q10, which many of us are familiar with. It has a chemical structure that is similar to vitamin K. It's involved in ATP synthesis as part of the energy production in our mitochondrial energy factories in every cell in our body. It has the ability to act as a free radical scavenger as well. Now, CoQ10 is especially important for the heart because that's where the concentration is highest compared to any other part of the body. We do find CoQ10 in great abundance in the metabolically active organs and glands of our body. The brain, the lungs, the liver, and the kidneys are the other significant parts that we need to have that protection. So CoQ10 again is made in our bodies throughout our lifetimes, but we make a lot more of it when we're younger and a lot less of it when we're older, which is why it's helpful to supplement CoQ10 as we get older. So again, evidence that CoQ10 may have significant cardiovascular protective effects, according to many studies, many physicians, and Cleveland Heart Lab as well. Next, we're going to talk about L-Carnitine. And now this is a amino acid that many of us know. It does help to shuttle long-chain fatty acids into the mitochondria energy factories of the cells to be oxidized and converted to ATP. Very important, kind of think of it like a furnace. You need to put the, well, if you use the old-fashioned steam locomotive concept, the way you put wood in the furnace to help turn the water into steam to help drive the locomotive. That's one way to think of it in that regard, very important. It helps aid recovery from exercise, helps reduce muscle soreness after exertion, and can be especially conditionally essential for vegetarians and those on high-fat diets that may not be getting enough. We do make carnitine in our body from the amino acid L-lysine, but again, we may not get enough in through our diet from lysine, or may have difficulty making the connection between the lysine and the carnitine. There are other compounds involved, such as iron, in that process. So having sufficient L-carnitine may be helpful as well. So again, it facilitates transport, as I talked about, of fatty acids. But again, important to understand that fatty acids are the predominant substrate for energy production in the heart muscle and the skeletal muscles when they are at rest. So very important, and most of the body's carnitine is in the skeletal and cardiac muscles. Now, interestingly, carnitine also crosses the blood-brain barrier where it accumulates in the hypothalamus. That's a very important part of the brain. Most of us are familiar with pituitary as a master endocrine gland that regulates and controls much of our body hormone production and things of that nature. The hypothalamus is basically superior in a sense, physiologically speaking, to the pituitary, and is also a very important modulator and monitor of body processes every moment of our lives. So having this working optimally is important to our normal function as well. So that is Clinical Cardio. I think an excellent product for us, and it's doing very well. We do have our protocol line. We call it Clinical Cardio -6, which is taking off very well in the protocol side of things, and we expect this to do well on the Now line as well. Next, we're going to talk again a little bit about the Hawthorn extract that we have as separate products. We have the 300 milligram and the 600 milligram for support of healthy blood pressure. And we also have our blood pressure health product, which has been a popular product that contains not only the Hawthorn extract, but also grapeseed extract, that mega natural BP. And next we have Beta-Sitosterol plant sterols. This is a trademark brand that we have, Cardio Aid plant sterol esters that are used in this. It is primarily consists of beta-sitosterol plus other sterol compounds as well, but in a base official concentrate. There have been over 200 studies that have shown the potential effect of phytosterols. Now, phytosterols in our diet are found in grains, found in nuts and seeds and things of that nature, as well as other foods. So they are widespread, which means that eating a healthy plant-based diet is healthy for us in many ways, and this is one of the ways it may be helpful. So there are several mechanisms that have been described to explain this, but the most well characterized and well known of them is competitive inhibition of sterol absorption, which we'll talk about. So normally cholesterol gets into the intestines in the shape of micelles that accumulate there. Micelles are similar to liposomes, if you're familiar with that. And the chemical structures of cholesterol and phytosterols are so similar, the body can't really absorb both simultaneously. So when you take a phytosterol containing diet or supplement with the food, less cholesterol tends to be absorbed and more is excreted in the stool. So the FDA has approved a health claim on phytosterols, which states foods containing at least 650 milligrams or 0.65 grams of vegetable oil plant sterol esters eaten twice a day with meals for a daily total intake of at least 1.3 grams as part of a diet low in saturated fat and cholesterol may reduce the risk of heart disease. Next, we have Policosanol. This has been a popular product for quite a long time in our product line. We have 3 formulations. We have the one in the middle, the 10 milligram, which is pretty much a standalone product. And then we have the double strength, the 20 milligram, and then we also have the extra strength, 40 milligram. The double strength one has additional compounds, artichoke, milk thistle, alpha-lipoic, and grapeseed extract. And then the extra strength one has the pine phytosterols, which we will be covering in a moment, and hawthorn berry, which we've already covered. So what is Policosanol? It's a compound derived from sugarcane wax. These can be found in other foods as well, but sugarcane wax is most well studied in the research. You can find it also in rice, wheat germ, or beeswax. These are long-chain fatty alcohols, but it doesn't mean this is related to alcohol as in alcohol in drinks, things like that. This is just the chemical term for it. So the one major Policosanol that some people are familiar with is octacosanol, which was a popular supplement back in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s for its effects on some of the research on its stamina effects in athletics. There are other cosanols in this, which is why it gets the name Policosanol, because there are other ones there as well. So these plant waxes can help support healthy cholesterol levels, and a 22 study meta-analysis of the sugarcane Policosanol showed that it significantly affected not only overall cholesterol, but also total and HDL cholesterol. And it was shown to be quite safe compared to placebo as well. And next we have cholesterol prol, which has a combination of 2 ingredients that can help to support healthy serum lipid levels already within the healthy range. Those consist of bergamonte, Italian citrus fruit extract, and phytopin, which is a French pine sterol combination. So that is the label, and we don't list the phytopin brand name due to likely international marketing agreements that may not permit that, but we just refer to it generically as pine phytosterol powder, soy-free. So bergamonte is the Italian citrus fruit extract that I mentioned. Bergamot is somewhere not having ever had it before, but Italians that are familiar with it will tell you it's, I guess, somewhat cross between an orange and a lemon in that regard. But this particular compound has active compounds that support healthy cholesterol metabolism, also are free radical scavengers, and may support healthy blood glucose. So let's talk now about CoQ10. Very important for the heart muscles we talked about, where the concentration is highest. And again, it has multiple cellular and extracellular functions, primarily based on its ability to undergo redox cycling back and forth in electron transfer in the body. And it's very heavily involved in ATP synthesis. Again, ATP is the energy currency in our cells, just like the dollar bill runs in our country. ATP, we can't live without it. So it's very important as part of the electron transport chain, and also acts as a free radical scavenger. We have a lot of CoQ10 products, as you know. I can remember back 30, 35 years ago when CoQ10 hit the market, 30 milligrams was about the highest we initially saw when it first hit our industry. And now we have not only on this page the 150 milligram, but we also have in our product line up to 600 milligrams, which is quite a good broad range. As you know, we have products that are in soft gels that would not be vegetarian or vegan friendly, but we do also have a number of lozenges or veg capsules that are vegan, vegetarian, to support many people's needs. We also have a CoQ10 with Hawthorn berry, which is one of our better sellers. This has a Hawthorn berry extract, which is high in various flavonoid compounds. It's not Hawthorn berry extract like is found in some of our other products, but it's a good compound to have as well. And then we also have Ubiquinol, which is a reduced form of CoQ10. CoQ10 and Ubiquinol both exist in the body and constantly being made back and forth throughout the production. Ubiquinol is more soluble and because of that more bioavailable than CoQ10. However, Ubiquinol does tend to break down in the digestive tract into CoQ10, so there is some relative doubt about whether it's worth it for some people to consider Ubiquinol versus CoQ10. Some people think CoQ10 is just as fine as Ubiquinol. Now, we also have CoQ10 liquid. Now, this is very tasty. It's nice orange flavor. There is a number of other compounds, B vitamins in here, as well as D-ribose and NAD, which are involved in energy production as partners with CoQ10 in the body. So it's a nice formulation, especially for people that don't like the prospect of consuming a large pill, perhaps, or any pill, and also is very tasty. Next, let's turn our attention to red yeast rice. we have several formulas, a 600 milligram capsule, a 1200 milligram tablet, as well as another option, which we'll talk about later. So red yeast rice is red because of the particular yeast that's used, that when it ferments, it has a red color that's been produced. Now, what makes red yeast rice popular product is the monocolins that are in it. Now, there's also a compound potentially found in red yeast rice called citrulline, which could be toxic in high levels, but we do test it to be less than, I think, 1 ppm level. So it's not an issue. Some people occasionally will ask us that question, and again, we have that base covered. Now, the history of red yeast rice when it first hit the market, probably about 20 years ago, maybe 25 years ago now, there was a product that was claimed to be equivalent to the statin medication lovastatin because it contained monocolin K. Now, it was determined by the FDA that in their, I guess you say, partners in the pharmaceutical industry, that can't have a dietary supplement masquerading as a dietary supplement when it's really a drug in disguise, because if it purports to do the same thing as a medication, a statin medication, the FDA determined that monocolin K is not permitted to be spiked in formulas. So we only have the naturally occurring levels that we test for, and it's less than 1/10 of 1%. Whereas other competitors at one point in time had, maybe 5% or better monocolin K, and the FDA did send cease and desist orders to those companies to not to be selling those compounds. So we've never had that issue in that regard, but our product also does not make cardiovascular claims regarding lipid reduction for that reason. However, there are other monocolins in red yeast rice, and there's about 10 of them total. So other monocolins still seem to have some efficacy in the body. Now, we also have red yeast rice with a combination with milk thistle extract for liver support, alpha lipoic acid, and CoQ10, which makes it a nice formulation. Alpha lipoic acid operates in so many areas of the body in so many ways. Milk thistle, of course, for liver support, and the liver is intimately involved in our body health, including cholesterol control. Then we're going to finish up with a few things about omega-3s and krill. So let's talk about omega-3 fatty acids. The FDA has allowed a qualified health claim that supportive but not conclusive research shows that consumption of EPA and DHA omega-3 fatty acids may reduce the risk of coronary heart disease. Now, we have one of our products, CoQ10, with fish oil in it. In one soft gel, you can get a small amount of EPA and DHA with a fairly good amount of 60 milligrams of CoQ10 and a little soy lecithin in there, which can help in several ways, and especially in this formulation as a fat emulsifier and to help potential absorption of both. We also have red omega, which is a red yeast rice that combined with CoQ10 and omega-3s. The omega-3 content in the red omega is significantly more than the previous product we just mentioned at 600 milligrams total in 2 soft gels with a significant amount of 600 milligrams of red yeast rice, organic as well, and 60 milligrams of CoQ10. So the already talked about the red omega with the red yeast rice, the citrulline, and the CoQ10 and fish oil support healthy cardiovascular function. I'm going to wrap up here with krill and CoQ10. This is a good combination as well. This particular supplement has 2 soft gels, a total of 1,000 milligrams of krill oil, which we'll talk about krill in just a moment. CoQ10, again, we talked about it already, and krill oil is a good source of omega-3 fats that are also well known for their role in cardiovascular health. Now, krill oil contains it has a number of advantages over fish oil. It is in a phospholipid structure that enhances the absorption of EPA and DHA. It also contains astaxanthin, which is a carotenoid that helps with immune support, as well as a few other things as well. There's also a study here that showed a change in the omega-3, the EPA DHA concentration over fish oil. So krill oil, represented by the darker red box at the top, so we can refer to that as the area under the curve, significantly higher amount over a period of 72 hours when supplemented with equal amounts of either fish oil or krill oil, which is quite significant. So it is an effective alternative to fish oil. So beyond cardiovascular health, krill oil could also support joint comfort and also may reduce symptoms of PMS, premenstrual syndrome. And the astaxanthin component found in krill oil, which gives it a very gorgeous ruby red color. If you've ever seen our krill oil capsules, they're just gorgeous to look at if you like the color red, may help to safeguard skin during sun exposure, which is also true for other carotenoids in our diet as well. And let's wrap up here with a really significant monograph showing some of the potential differences between omega-3 fats at 3 grams a day and just 1/3 to 1/2 that amount of the krill oil, the NKO, in terms of total cholesterol, triglycerides, LDL cholesterol, HDL cholesterol, and even in glucose markers, significant difference. So quite a difference in that regard, which is why I take krill oil. All right, so that's it for that. And I will turn it back over to Sue.
Well, thank you, Jim, for that excellent presentation. I'm always so amazed to be a part of these webinars because it helps me to realize all the products we actually have and some of them that I possibly need. So thank you for that great information. We do have a pretty extensive line for cardiovascular and heart support. So if you do have questions, please take a minute to use the chat bubble and submit them to us, and we will go ahead and respond to you by email. This is just in the interest of time. We don't generally get too many questions off the cuff, but sometimes you think about them, so you have an opportunity to email them to us, and then we can respond to you. And remember, Jim is part of our Now information team, and that's what he does all day. He answers your questions. So feel free to give him a call. You can see the number there on your screen. And I think, Jim, combined, there's over 125 years of experience in your department. So don't be afraid to call us. We're happy to answer any and all of your questions. So thank you again, Jim, and thank you everyone for joining us for today's webinar. And we hope that we will have you back with us in June. So just watch your email for the details on the June webinar. And until then, have a great month. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.